Though I do want to turn it just a little bit. Alrighty then. Time for a mic check. I can still be heard at this level, right? I can be heard at this level, right? Okay. Let me get rid of this 500 internal service error off my screen, because that seems to be an Elgato error. Wow. Why is that on my screen? I can't get rid of it. Right there. That's Elgato. Unplug it and plug it back in. You know how to do it. I think you have to. It's not XSplit. It's Elgato. That's what you just said. That's Elgato. That doesn't show up on anything else I was streaming. One for the computer. Then it's the game console. And then it's the television. Okay, the 500 internal error is still on there. So that would be XSplit. No, that's not XSplit. Because you would see it on here, all the way around here. Then try to refresh. I did. No. Let me figure it out. Okay. When starting a stream to YouTube. We're aware of the ongoing error message 500 that appears when attempting to start a stream to YouTube from the Game Capture HD software. Our team is currently investigating the issue. Streaming to YouTube can be acceptable by using RTMP, which is what we're using. So the message cannot, so they're fixing it, so it's their problem. So anybody else that's using Elgato and has this message, good luck. It's only going to be up here, so hopefully that's not going to be too much of an issue. If anybody comes in and asks questions, do let them know, okay? Because I have a feeling there's going to be everybody. Because it's probably just a network issue that they're having. So, what happened last time? Do you remember? You know, Di? You should remember what happened last time. Stuff happened, right? Fell off a bridge and Esper's was asked. Okay, that's a good briefing. A lot better than what you did for a lot of the other ones, yes. So Pearl had signed Maya up into doing the special course for her training, which is up there on Eagle Mountain. So they stopped at the Hazakura Temple where we meet Bikini. Bikini explains what the special course is. Both Maya and Pearl are scared of this training. While Maya's putting a brave face on for Pearl, you can tell that Maya is scared for this. So Phoenix at first didn't want to go, but after seeing a girl that he knew in the occult magazine, he decided to go. Turns out it wasn't who he thought he was, but he still wanted to know why she looked very much the same as Dahlia Hawthorne. We find out that her name is Sister Iris. Okay? So, at this point, we don't know her connection. And, we meet Elise Doxnam, storybook author, Rotted in Mystery. We meet Larry Butts, who's the supposed apprentice to Elise Doxnam. And then Elise Doxnam later is murdered. And Phoenix was told to go phone the police. Okay? Phoenix, not realizing he not realizing he needed a cell phone, had to go and call on the payphone over by Dusky Bridge. Dusky Bridge was on fire. This sends Phoenix into a panic because he wanted to go see if Maya was okay. And he told Larry to go phone the police, and Phoenix fell right through the bridge. Larry phones Edgeworth and the police to come over to America to help Iris. And that's where we're at. Miles Edgeworth does his investigation, and we're in the trial now. That is basically the entire summary. So, time for the trial. Ready? February 9th, 1947 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1. My, Mr. Laurie feels that way about me. Failed to mention that he goes by Maurice now instead of Larry Butt. Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be blush. It's like he's saying that as if he can literally control that emotion. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Worry not, and in any case, whatever it was that he saw on that night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him. Alright. Does that mean Sister Larisse is the witness today? No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini. They claim to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Doxnam, correct? That is correct. It wasn't me. Very well then. Edward? Yes? You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed, don't worry. Made the necessary arrangements. Iris? It is the prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. The defense attorney's job is to believe in people and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once. Mr. Edwards? I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I have been entrusted. Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands. February 9th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, courtroom number 7. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakor Temple. Oh, welcome back. Must have rained in your area. Must have had sun and rain. Beautiful rainbow. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. For that matter, they didn't bring a chair. Neither did I bring a chair. It would seem that this case is already over before I had a chance to begun. I'm ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
The prosecution stands ready. You know who she is, don't you? You were? Franziska von Karma, prosecuting prodigy. Von Karma, you say? Perchance, you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma? Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma. That is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purpose of prosecuting this case. Good? And you must be quite a pig, John, eh? By the way, Mr. Edward. Yes, Your Honor? I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? Hey, Phoenix. You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you're imagining things, Your Honor. This conversation is going to get a little weird. By the way, everybody say hello to Mario. It's me, Mario. Hello. Miss Von Carmel, do you have anything to say? There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. Wow. There isn't, but I'm sure. Ugh! I told you there is no such weakling. What is that? A whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. Bailiff, remove the whip at. Hold it! I have no objections to the whip. Dad, do you have any objections to the whip? No? So we're gonna let her use the whip. Okay. If you don't, prosecution can wield the whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today. He's gonna allow a coffee addict in a courtroom too. This promises to be. This promises to be interesting. Miles Edgeworth, I had expected to face Phoenix right here today, but looking at you now, maybe this is what I had been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers. That could have been worded a little differently. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. Wah! The stage is set. Now continue with your proceedings, Your Honor. Very well, Ms. Von Carmel. Please give an outline of this case. With a little whipping as possible. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Doxham. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene. Crime photo added to the court record. There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. And so it begins. Our first and last trial for the defense attorney. Is it your last? Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Oh, hold on there. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. This is worded really weird. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain plead witness. Bailiff, put your crate for this for you, please. Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little me. Well, I'm the head nun of the Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. The judge is gonna say it. The judge is actually going to say it. Di, you better get that sign ready. Well, you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. The court is the garden of holy judgment. Those with luxury in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer. Are you sure about that? In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. No way your little Iris could do anything like that. Let's hear what you have to say then. First, tell us about your own movement that night, eh? The night of the murder. That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and return to the Hazakor temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long, hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back, that's when I saw it! So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning at Hazakor temple? Yes, you could say that. My back hadn't been in so much pain, I wouldn't have stayed at the inner temple. Sounds like a pretty important statement you just made. There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle. Now are you, Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. Okay, you ready for this one? This one says you don't necessarily need any recommended press.
Hold it!
Finally? That's right. No laughing matter, especially in winter. You can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just being alive is like strict training. On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again? That's right. Raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. Isn't that fabulous? I just knew that unless I warmed it up, it was going to finally finish me off.
Hold it!
You left Iris to help? With what? What do you think? The acolyte's training, of course. Just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into training exercise proper. Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple? Well, the job is simply to watch over the acolytes so they don't pass away. Just to confirm this point again that night, you met Iris in the inner temple, correct? Yes, yes. She's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my direction. So you return to the Hazakura temple in order to take a bath? I'm back to blame for everything. It's a do or be done kind of world after all. How long were you in the bath for, if you don't mind me asking? My, what a filthy little rogue you are. I know what's on your mind. Yeah, you really wanted me to press this statement, didn't you? I bet your next question is going to be, where exactly did you wash? Okay. Ah, this is why you have to watch the young ones. What are you going on about? Oh, pathetic, Miles Edgeworth. The lowest of the low? Is there some sort of kick me sign stuck to the defendant's bench? Okay, you probably couldn't hold that one in, could you? You're probably bursting out with laughter. Which is... This is not the only one that you'll encounter. Anyways, I couldn't afford to be away from my post for too long, you understand, so... I do like how the artist gave her Fred Flintstone's lip. Seriously, if you took that lip right off in her face and put it on Fred Flintstone, it would match. The crime took place in the courtyard, correct? Alright, you go from my room to the main hall. You have to take a winding hallway from which you can see the courtyard. That's right. In other words, it was pure coincidence that the witness saw the crime take place before her eyes. There was no complicated setup in this case. That certainly seems to be true. There's indeed one problem with this testimony. If I can clearly point out what it is, then I can begin to quantify just how good this witness's memory and observation skills are. Alright, ready for that? You know what statement? Alright, let's look at the last one for a second. So this last one here It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it. So this moment happened directly before Phoenix Wright witnessed the incident, okay? So we did get to see it through Phoenix's eye. So we know that she's not lying on this one, okay? You have another suggestion? What are we going to use? Okay. Map. Well, the map isn't going to really show you anything. Okay? Because everything that she's stating is before the bridge was set on fire. You're going to use the fact that the bridge was down. This all happened before the bridge was set on fire. So, I'll make it easier on you. The evidence is on this page. Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well. Don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all. No! She said that! A defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back.
Objection!
But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. He does have a point. But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie. The thing is, she didn't lie. She does indeed have honest eyes. All people lie. That is my belief. Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyways, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means we must call your memory into question. Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you? She's got a point. Well, that isn't exactly what My memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter. Then I suppose it's too early to end the cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edwards, if you're going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that that alone would do the trick. And please add your comment about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. That night I was helping... wait a second, that's not the statement I'm looking for. Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. That's the new statement.
Hold it!
Are you sure that you're not making a mistake? Young man, need to get your estimation of me up from the floor. Iris always wears the same clothes. The smallest thing out of place would have stood out like a sore thumb to me. You're making a mistake, thinking I made a mistake. An excellent finish there, witness. So I have to wonder. Okay, let's go back to the statement. What code? Well, that's exactly what it is, the hood. Just the hood. Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, he was wearing this demon warding hood, correct? Of course. That is a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Hold it right there. Why do you have that? That's the question of the day now, isn't it? Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to me as a gift that night before the lights out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claimed, then the iris she saw should have been missing this very hood. Well! Now I understand the happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Order in the court. What? Sister, this hood. You have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. The surplus of hoods, each man is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owns. Then this is quite strange. What? If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here. She missed the point. I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Kummer, but you won't get away with that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness? While I don't wish to call your testimony under doubt, I must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. After my bath. I finished my bath around 11. I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and it was Iris! Iris was Mysticalise! And with this sword, of all things! Mysticalise was staying in the corner room, with faces out into the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. You saw a truly terrifying sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court, and me seeing it all in front of this very chair. I think we heard this analogy from Gumshoe. Well, something like that. This judge. His imagination is as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I just said that, didn't I? I just said that. I would look the fool if I committed on such foolishness. Anyways, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? No. No recommended statements to press. Okay. Okay. Welcome back.
Hold it!
How far is it from your room to the inner temple? Think about 20 minutes. On these stumps of mine, about 15 minutes to Dusky Bridge from Hazakor Temple. inner temple is just beyond the bridge. So, you never made it back there that night, did you? That's right. I was heading along the walkway towards the main hall.
Hold it!
Oops, I pressed. Oh, I will read it. You say you heard a noise? Dump! Just like that. That can only be the sound of the victim falling, or just plain snow. It's very quiet in the temple, you know. You can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Dump! Just like that. The noise you heard have been snow falling in the ground? I never thought of that! The next one to laugh gets a whipping. Well, whatever the source of the sound, I looked over at the courtyard and... Well, it's a good thing we read that anyways, right? You got a laugh out of it, didn't you? This is the second time the witness has testified as seeing the defendant, but some doubts remain in these claims. Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to... The murderer who stabbed the victim with the sword, Mr. Bikini? Try to recall exactly who it was you saw as clearly as you can. Well, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Oh, now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something that has been bugging me all this time. Please, don't keep us in suspense. Her hood! Her hood? That's right! It's coming back to me! Iris! She wasn't wearing her hood! I said something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she's giving the hood away to someone, right? Freak! Ah! You dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth! What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important? This may initially appear to put me at a disadvantage, but I can't see any other leads at the moment. Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony. Miles Edgeworth, if you want to hang yourself, you need only to ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip. Witness, add that statement to your testimony. No problemo.
Hold it!
You were sure about that? Yes, after all, we always wear the same clothes. Don't mean being poor, you understand? It's our style. Yes, that's it. There's absolutely no need to explain yourself. Anyways, you look different from normal, so that really stuck out. Like me holding a whippet puppy instead of my whip. There's already an image of that. At least then it might bite you and not someone else. Though it's not a puppy. I just didn't have her hood on. I'm sure of it. Very well. Now please tell us about the victim, eh?
Hold it!
The room the victim was staying in overlooked the courtyard, correct? Means the victim's room was on the second floor? No, Hajikori Temple is a single-story building. But the mountain itself slopes downward, which elevates the main gate side of the temple and the guest rooms in the back to about the height of a two-story building. And the victim was staying in one of the elevated rooms, eh? Correct? Yes. I didn't want to carry your things to her room after all. What makes you so sure of all of this? It's just that, like I told you earlier, I heard a noise from the courtyard, okay? Stop! Just like that. You're one smart sister. I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that the victim's body was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from around 10 feet in height. Yep. I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple. There's only 2 of them working there. Ooh. Thank you for the subscriptions. I appreciate that. Whoever's lurking, I thank you. If you would like to say something, please do. What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark? Doesn't feel like she is lying. This is very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the incident in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now. My client Iris and my own abilities as a defense attorney. Alright, which statement do you think it is? The new statement? Unfortunately, I'm gonna give you bad news because we have evidence to prove that she was not wearing a hood at that time. Think about what she's talking about in the courtyard. She was not seen wearing a hood. Miles Edgeworth proved that on the last testimony. So this confirms the contradiction from the last statement, the last testimony. No, another statement? No, she's telling you what room the shoe is in, so we don't have any idea if this is true or not. So we don't have any logical piece of evidence to disprove it. Which piece of evidence would you like to use? The crime scene photo is not going to help us on this statement, because the crime scene photo is going to literally confirm what she's stating. Yes. Yeah, something wrong, Di? You're thinking. Think about what she's saying. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. Now, there is only one piece of evidence that's going to give us that information. What photo? This is the Hazakura Temple map. This is not going to tell us anything. This is just a picture of Elise. Would have been nice if he didn't give you the answer, right, Di?
Objection!
Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say anyway. Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind to take another look at the autopsy report? The autopsy report? The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. See? That's right. It says after death right here. The scene the victim witnessed to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? He's got a point. Ah! Order, order! The victim was killed and then fell? If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree? That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room, and she was then thrown out of her window, down into the courtyard below.
Objection!
Were there any signs of struggle in Miss Duxton's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a blood stain. Wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? What? No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. The whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious played-off beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, then you're claiming that. What? I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure Your Honor is well aware of when a stabbing would produce the most blood. And it produces the most blood. Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. In this situation, it doesn't work. That would be true if it was a clean blade. What I mean is, a clean blade, meaning it's completely sharp all the way around the blade. And it's literally acting as a plug. Indeed, when the weapons, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfect reasonable line of thinking. We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all the contradictions. Order, order, order! I must admit that this is a probable version of the advance. I'd expect no less from Francisco von Carmo. She locates and takes control of every vital point. Seems that we need a clear testimony from the witness. Remove all suspicions on your part and tell us only the facts. Witness, please, remain standing on the crates. Don't go selling me short now! The winter snow has bent me out of shape. Especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip? Did he just ask that? Oh boy. Alright, alright. Further details. When I looked across the scene, this sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't exactly see her stab Miss Elise. Mystic Elise. I've never seen so much blood before. It's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I walked, Mr. Gamey was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back. This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Francisco Von Karma. Why don't you go play for the Perfecto Preps? And you'll understand that perfection is impossible. And I'm here to teach you just that. At that time, was the victim bleeding? shocked to be seeing all of this, of course, so I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think I saw any blood, not then. I'm sure that you did it. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wound. Look at that blade very closely, Di. Do you think it would be a very good plug? Not only, well, it doesn't. Well, the size of the blade doesn't really matter. It's the fact that it's a branched sword. It would leave the wound very uneven. It wouldn't make that wound very clean. In any case, let's be clear on one very important point. Did you actually see the incident in which the victim was stabbed? Think carefully. This is very important. It's Iris we're talking about here. I'm thinking, for all I'm worth. I look over. The sword was already in Mystic Elise's body. Enough conclusive, but his testimony supports their theory. The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth. No, under the net. Now, on to what the killer did next. You saw none of it, correct? Well, I was unconscious. How long were you out for? I don't know, 10, maybe 20 minutes? A young man with a very prickly looking head woke me up. By stepping on me, actually. Not sure it was the method of resurrection. It was an accident. Well, I wasn't asking for mouth-to-mouth or anything of the sort, but I would have welcomed a more gentle awakening right about that. Let me tell you. I shall have words with the offender personally. What did you see upon awakening? Why, Mr. Cleaning, you're referring to the golden statue, correct? Stabbing someone with a picicito, a sacred treasure, is terrible enough. I don't care. It's gonna be pronounced how I'm gonna pronounce it, because I'm never gonna pronounce it. But to then make Mystic Amy hold the blade. Really a heinous, despicable crime. It is easy to despise something. Anyone can do that. However, there is something that cannot be done so easily. Whatever is it? I'm sure it's doubly hard to use. Anyways, what is the problem? Exactly why would the killer set up this gruesome scene? Can anyone explain the reason behind that? There isn't always a logical reason behind why someone acts. That's true, so true. In early spring, for example, I often find myself, there isn't always that phrase might come in handy someday. There are too many unnatural events in the case. Why was it necessary to use the Chiquitito from the Acme statue as a weapon? Why was the weapon ultimately placed back into the hand of the statue? If I can expose the flaws in this testimony, perhaps then I will begin to find the truth. Okay, so we have one statement that still needs to be pressed. So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood? That's right! Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-fed clothes was nearly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-fletched as well? That seems quite conclusive. What should I do? Press this point further? Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed, but now you say you saw the victim bleeding? Oh well, I say that what I saw is what I saw. What did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her, plain as day. Pulling the sword out? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling, it was more like came out. Goodness, you will add this statement to your testimony. Oh, was that important? More important than you can imagine. Would you say, Di, that was really important? I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt, was smoothly drawn out. Smoothly, you say? You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out? That's right. The whole something happened right next to this golden statue of Mr. King. Mr. Khalees was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. The sword was buried up to the hilt. When Iris stood up, the sword in hand just slid out of Mr. Khalees' body. It slid out from that grasping wound. Ah! That's what I'm saying. If the sword was removed, there would be bleeding. Nothing out of place here. That's really the case. I can't help but feel that something about this testimony is out of place. That something which couldn't possibly have happened appears to have happened. Okay, we're going to go back to this statement. And we are going to present an evidence.
Objection!
Mr. Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so, but there are too many contradictions here. Oh, what do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Seriously? Does it sound like she has a crush on him? What contradiction are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the witness was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are completely impossibilities. What do you mean? Please, explain yourself. Start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, he doesn't appear strong enough for that.
Objection!
Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble. I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I choose so. The objection sustained. I walked a little back there, I must admit.
Objection!
That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, look at all the branches on it. It clearly wouldn't come out smoothly. That. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding.
Objection!
That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the shito. With a weapon of this nature, may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss.
Objection!
I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction. You still got more? This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? Ah. If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. No! Order! What? Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that. Phoenix Wright would have probably pulled all three from that blade. But what does this all mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer. And that is... the weapon used to kill the victim was not the shitashito. What? A foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardily foolish fool. Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think that this sword was the murder weapon? Well, it's because Mr. Amy was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong that it was influenced, that is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the shitashito was the murder weapon. Order! Wah! So maybe the shitashito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changed nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. Obvious question? Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? Goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and surrounding areas. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found. That... Answer the question, Miss Von Carmel. No evidence of the kind was found. Go into the file. The trial without a murder weapon is Excuse me, can I say something? I just remembered something actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking, possible, that just maybe what exactly happened was, it was just over there. Exactly, you going to boot there. The murder weapon, I believe. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of. What? You what? Well then, I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible! What else? What else could this old woman have seen? Location of the weapon. I saw the murder at around 11 p.m. And after asking that it may be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there, I saw tracks. Tracks that indicate the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk the dusty bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into the Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out? Iris could have done that. He can drive a snowmobile after all. Witness, please, tell us everything you know right away next time. Well, I'm not in the best of shape. What with my back and my age, you know. Why? There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here is a photograph. A snowmobile, eh? Well, it certainly is an interesting theory. The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. Track photos added to the court record. That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon. You really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Serger, your cross-examination, if you please. Okay, give me 1 second. Need to clear my throat. Sure about the time? Yes, I was worried about it after all. It was good, because I have a strong sense of responsibility, especially at this time. The Acme was being doused in freezing water at the time. I couldn't very well take it easy in the bathroom all night, now could I? So at 11, I decided to leave Hazakura Temple. First connection of the time seems reliable, at least. Please continue, sister. You asked Phoenix Wright to report the crime, correct? Right. The one who trampled me. Seems she is decided to hold a grudge. There isn't a phone in the main hall, so I sent him to the bridge. Phoenix Wright? He didn't even have his cell phone on him? He had forgotten it at home, apparently. What a naive boy, as always. Not only do I always carry my phone, but I always have my whip in hand, too. Anyways, I was really scared, and it was taking him a while to get back. So I thought I'd go out by the main gate for a spell. As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited. That's it. That's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls. Now, you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived? Yes, of course. It was parked in front of the gate. So she had already gone, discarded the murder weapon, and returned by that time. I'm not sure, sir, if this is really relevant. What should I do? I need answers to every possible doubt. The snowmobile in question, was it still warm at the time? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, eh? What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth? Stereo. I'm playing to a slow crowd here. It goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. If it is still warm, then it means it was recently used. Ah, I see. I never thought of that. Good, overlooked that too. Of course you did. That ain't you. Then answer the question, please, wouldn't it? I don't often go around touching hot engines. You don't need to touch the engine. All you need to do is look at it and see if there's still snow on it. Because if it's a hot engine, the snow is not going to stick. It's going to melt. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it. So, it was used. This is the proof that it was used. No? Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow. There wasn't any snow on it? Curse it! Seems highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, huh? How long does it take to get to Destiny's Race by snowmobile? Go delete that message. It's on Kick. Guy, you can delete that message too.
Hold it!
In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking. There's a reason for that. Have we got a moment for me to explain? That's why the question was asked in the first place. It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as can be. I fetched some water and was heading back when I went and I crashed into a tree. The tree and my back both went crunch, just like that. Crunch. Di, are you able to see the bot message? Yes? Why can you not see it? Because it wasn't deleted. She can too. She's a managing moderator. You can't see RestreamBot's message on YouTube? Why can't you see Restream's message? I don't know why you can't see Restream's messages. Wow. I don't know what YouTube did to your crunch. I haven't been able to find the courage to write anything since then. I don't know. what's going on with your YouTube guy. Anyways, the killer must have used that. And you can't see bot Ricks on anybody else's stream, huh?
Hold it!
Refresh your memory. How long were you kicked out for? Oh, I meant restream, not bot Ricks. Restream. Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. Possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes. Snowmobile. Not to concede that is more than enough time. Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edward? Well, Discord's a little different. I'm trying to think if you might have accidentally blocked it. While it would have been possible time-wise, one element remains out of place. Oh, what would this missing element be? The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all of this? Why go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon when there are other methods? Too many limits to put. Your response, Ms. Von Carmel? Turning to me for help over the slightest thing? Why don't you think for yourself once in a while, Your Honor? You would be held in contempt of court for that. What? She's as over the top as always. Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains the defendant could have done this. The murder weapon was disposed of into the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth. Another mission to seize the fire. Was there any reason to go out there go and throw away the murder weapon? But luckily there is surely a problem with this testimony. All I have to do is start poking holes in the flawed account. Do you know what statement? Okay, what piece of evidence?
Objection!
I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder. You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth. However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? What do you mean? If Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be two sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge and those from coming back. Ah, right. You're forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. Tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction, now doesn't it? See, when she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there a flaw in her testimony and her theory? This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks. Tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that is impossible. Would you care to explain? Why, there is a rude index finger currently pointing in my general direction. No need. The evidence will do all of the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by snow, or so claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, please present the evidence to the court, eh? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow. Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime. Like I said, it was around 11. Of course. This means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On the notes, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report? Snow started to fall at 7 p.m. but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 p.m., the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks made after the time to have been covered up. Ah! Order! Order! Very well then. Looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. What? It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When is a weather report ever correct? Oh, no, you got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast, this is actual data. Why? Forecast data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m. It's true. We could not be totally sure, eh? What? How did she pull that off? It stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this. Of come this far. There's no turning back now. Very well. I too cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony. Ha! You cannot back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed? We do have one other piece of evidence to prove that. Well, we can't just use the track photo because we need something stronger than the track photo. Because we don't have a time when this photo was taken. However, the next piece of evidence already has an autopsy report stating the time when that occurred. Well, I technically don't have to go through them because it's right there. See that? And if you look at the autopsy report, victim was killed between 10 and 11 p.m. So, that already proves it.
Take that!
Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being, whether or not it was snowing in the courtyard when the victim was stabbed. That's right. But proving that is incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo can tell us everything. Of course, I'm referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow. With just one exception, and that is the victim herself, Miss Elise Dockham. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. Grr. In other words, if the killer really did go to Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photo, there should be 2 sets of tracks. Ah! Order, order! Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth? To be honest, I am not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakor Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing. Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow. Then when this person returned to the Hazakor Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus, the return tracks remained. Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There's only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. She was found in her room after the murder, which could only mean that night Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple. But Iris said that she never went there. This probably press on this point more when I get the chance. The snowmobile can't cross the suspension, so you must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot. That sounds about right. But what's odd is, when I left Iris and returned to the Hazakura temple, I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge, which means that she never left the Hazakura temple. You must have just failed to see it, sister. Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura temple, it was there by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. Which means she had not used it at that time. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too. But that is impossible! Order in the court. What does this all mean? Well then, what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be two sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used a snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble. I think we learned all we can from this witness. Yes, I've got nothing more to add. I've told you everything that I know. But then, it still leaves us with the same problem. If only there was someone, a witness, who could testify to having seen the snowmobile. Witness, huh? Was there no one out walking, perhaps, near Dusky Bridge on that night? I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do. That's a game. Hold on. Something is coming to me. Are you thinking deeply about what Sister Bikini just said, Dai? An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Who do you think she's referring to? Well, she's not referring to anyone in specific, but who do you think the reference is referring to? Your Honor, actually, there just may be an individual who may be of help to us. Really? You know someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder? I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are two things about him that do come to mind. Which are, first, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder. And the second being, this individual that I am thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot. God dang, you have to be so harsh. Mr. Edgewood, who is the idiot you're talking about?
Take that!
This guy must be a product of One Lord's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting. This is Larry Butt, a disciple of the victim. Police doxed her student? Interesting. And why was he wandering a boot outside on the night of the murder? Could tell them all about his design fire. It may cost us his credibility as a witness, or even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him, although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason. And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly was it that he saw? I intend to extract that from him, right here in this courtroom. Summon this youth as a witness immediately. I have no choice, do I? I believe he is in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him. Very well. Sorry. May have escaped me yesterday. Today, I'm going to get everything out of you. The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. If uncovered, please see to preparing the next week. Understood, you. Good. Well then, court is now in recess. All right, time to recalculate ourselves for this part. Questions, concerns, criticisms. So, what do we know about this? What are some new things we found out? Stuff about the snowmobile, yes. And we learned that the current crime scene that is listed, the current crime scene listed, has a bunch of contradictions. So, yeah. This will probably help us figure out more. Excuse me. I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think we'll expect from Larry? You are not sure, huh? So, we will go back to this. The first The first testimony is probably the most funniest testimony in this game. And every time I played this game, I would press the first statement every single time. You'll find out why. February 9th, 11:15 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Excuse me, Mr. Edwards. I'm not really sure what to say. Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we leave. Alright, I'll help you any way I can. First, about that night. You really didn't go to the inner temple, correct? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying. Just as I said yesterday, until the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Hazakori Temple. Very well. Second thing then, tonight, the temple snowmobile was used in between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness to the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. that night. Were you the one who used the snowmobile? There is only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me. This is why you know that she's not lying. She is very honest with what she says. So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge? Sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes. Not until his safety is confirmed. The safety of the acolyte. The acolyte? Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise Docksnim? No matter who or what, I could never take a life. As I thought, no psycho logs. Very well. My job to get to the truth. To discover this for yourself soon enough. Remember what I said. She knows about the locks. She knows. The reason why you know this is how she reacts to him every single time. That is one key thing that a lot of gamers who's played this game hasn't really fully realized. She knows they're there. Can you tell that, Di, from her expression? Which leads me to believe that she can see him without the Magatama. That's her secret that she's not revealing to anybody else. That's my theory. That she can see him without the Magatama. February 9th, 11:36 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 7. Court will now reconvene. Ms. Von Karma, where is this idiot? During the break, an idiot was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery. Suspicious behavior? He was sketching something very intensely. Sure, I asked what the witness was sketching when he was detained. He drew a terrifying woman, armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip. Well, we can already know who he was drawing. But can only presume that his... Anyways, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an idiot before the court. Laurice Docksnam, I hope you're ready. Get in here. It was seen that whip is going to see plenty more use today. Ouch! Your sketch is in contempt of this court, idiot. Hey! I was just on... Ouch! You tried to run away from the bailiff who was trying to hand you your subpoena, correct, idiot? But look, I'm nothing but a fledgling artist trading out of the mountains, not an idiot! I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to use a technical term for the color, viridian. Larry? This isn't an art store now, is it? I know, I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it? Working in the fields? I presume he wanted to say field work. I hope. That's it. Thanks, buddy. It's kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence. I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. So see, I've got nothing to do with this trial at all. I expect all of your faces to be red when you realize this mistake. Bright red. Or to use the technical term, crimson lake. Ouch! 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 Stop you pathetic babbling. Stop your pathetic babbling and testify like a man in it, idiot. Refrain from whipping me, Miss Von Karma. Cross-whipping is as bad as cross-checking. Witness, that was your fault. Testify now. What? This is too much for me. What I saw. Ready for this testimony, Die? I know what you're thinking. I hope I'm ready for this witness. I was at the lodge out in the mountain, looking up at the stars that night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I had to laugh at that statement only because we didn't expect him to say that. I'm all alone now, aren't I, Angie? Witness, please refrain from talking directly to the lawyer during your testimony. I'm just a nobody, nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? And why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation or anything else? Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferior complex. He's virtually been the cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realized for himself just how much of a nuisance he has been to other people. Yeah, that's right! I'm behind everything! Every case! Maybe this one too. Who knows? Watch out, okay? Just touching me will make you entirely unhappy. I am the most unluckiest butts ever. Well, let us proceed with the cross-examination with no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time. I'm thinking you probably want to know what this statement what's said behind this.
Hold it!
Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Whatever is the matter, Mr. Edgeworth? This one single statement is so full of contradictions. For a moment there, I thought I was going to collapse. So, witness? Any idea as to where these contradictions in your testimony lie? Depending on your answer, I may stay my whip. Okay, give me a minute. Well, it was snowing that night, so I couldn't possibly have seen the stars. That rundown shack is hardly a lodge, is it? And even if the stars could be seen, it wasn't like I was there to look at them, right? Hope you weren't drinking milk for that one. I hope you weren't drinking milk for that one. Let me guess, you fell out of your chair after reading all that. Or hearing all that. And then you were slowly climbing back into your seat. Your mom finally says, "What happened?" Says, "Nothing, I laughed too hard." You can tell me if I was wrong. See? You can do it if you try. No, like that, no. Yeah! There is only one issue here. What you saw at Dusky Bridge. There's another one that you probably should press as well. It's not as funny as that one, but just as funny.
Hold it!
A number of times? How many? Maybe 5 times? I went once every 20 minutes. Which means you spent almost 2 hours at Heavenly Hall that night? You bet! Real love is about waiting with your hearts in your hands. Love, you say? It was this man man's intention to summon the defendant to the small shack using this blackmail letter. The blackmail? No, that was simply a product of love. Ah! You huffy puffy loosey goosey excuse for a whimpering, whining what's of a witness. I can't believe I said that in one breath. I can't believe I said that in one breath. I can't believe I said that in one breath. These tongue twisters that she has formulated is going to burn my brain. So, what did you see? I hope for your sake you saw a snowmobile. You huffy puffy loosey goosey excuse for whimpering whining what's of a witness, eh? Said it again in a single breath. Again? Well, you see, being called those names doesn't seem to bother him at all. That's what you should press. Larry, you really didn't see it? Hey, no need to hit your desk. I can hear you. I didn't see it. It's a snowmobile. Larry, say snowmobile for me, please. This is a snowmobile. If you truly have nothing to hide, then why are you stammering like you just flew over a cuckoo's nest? Shut up! But what is this? I don't know. Don't ask me. It seems that I'll need to start from a more obvious contradiction. I'm going to strike the blow that will finally get him to spill the beans. There's two statements in the start of that testimony they cut off. So, just so you know. You didn't meet anyone? That's right, because I've got nothing to do with this. And I'm just here to buy some Viridian paint, okay? Come on, I expect to see those Crimson Lake faces now. With that simply pressing him isn't going to be enough. Indeed. It seems that he's going to claim to have nothing to do with this to the end. I don't want this guy to cost us any more time than being on the blue-collar comedy tour. I need to slice through his obvious contradiction and keep this moving along. What statement? This will make it easy for you.
Objection!
Larry Butts, I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic and you cause all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry. But having realized just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction. Edgy, are you trying to console me? It certainly doesn't sound that way to me. However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incident you create. What? You're totally putting this on me? No then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Mr. Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened across a certain infurious individual. You, Larry Butts. That's right, me in the flesh. Listen carefully, witness. It doesn't matter if you change your name, so long as you remain pretty pathetic. You will continue to cause these incidents. That really will not change. But what do you want to do? Want me to do then? Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue is all I need from you. Edgy, I think I finally woken up. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyways, I'll do it. I'll testify. Well, I'm not sure this will go especially well. Tell us again then, witness. What did you see on the night of the murder? What I saw? Hard deuce. I went to the shack at around 9 o'clock, so it would have been around 10:30 p.m. I was lying under my bed and a white flash almost blinded me. I looked out the window, and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. That's when I ran into Nick. You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you? So, what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire? It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It totally burned out, like almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the bridge, burning remains was what caused Nick to fall. What did you say? Oh, don't worry. It's nothing life-threatening. He just caught a cold. I never know with this man if he should be called lucky or unlucky. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please commence your cross-examination.
Hold it!
What did you do out there in the cold for an hour and a half? Well, you really must know. I was busy being excited, I guess. Excited? Dare I even ask? I set the meeting time at 10 o'clock p.m., right? But I couldn't wait. I thought she might come early too. Well, it appears she didn't come at all in the end. Because they never arranged to meet in the first place, did they? Shut up! Don't go picking my fond memories apart. Anyways, I was getting a little worried. I thought maybe Iris had lost her way. So every 20 minutes or so, I went out to the bridge. But I didn't see anything particularly suspicious. I didn't have anything else to do, so I went back to the shack to wait for her.
Hold it!
This light was, of course, lightning. Like, kapow! Like a slap from Naomi, honestly. A big bada boom. Yeah! Or a little like that. What? That's more like a punch from Miranda. Witness, did you actually see the lightning hit the bridge? Oh, I was a bit startled by the flash of light, so...
Hold it!
Seeing that, what did you do? What do you think? I was burning up as well, from the fire in my heart. And that's why you went to take a look at the bridge? Well, to be honest, it was freezing cold, so at first I thought, forget it. I'm not leaving my covers. But it had pretty much stopped snowing, so I don't know, I changed my mind. Not sure I care for the forget it attitude you had at first, Witness.
Hold it!
You said right away? But exactly how long after the strike was that? The lightning fell, and then the bridge caught on fire. Maybe around 5 minutes? I only thought, gotta go check this out. How far is this small shack you were in from the bridge? Oh, well. It had pretty much stopped snowing. I guess about a 5-minute walk. And how did Dusky Bridge look when you got there? I had recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfires kids make during school camping trips can compare. Well, we're pressing for a little bit more. That's okay. That's okay. Larry, let me ask you one thing. What is it, Edgy? What's with the serious face? Why didn't you call anyone? Huh? What do you mean? There you go. Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try and tell someone. There's a public phone right by Dusky Bridge, correct? Well, of course I thought of doing that. So then, let's hear why you did it. Oh, yeah, okay, a reason. The reason that I didn't try to tell someone, I just didn't have time to, okay? I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later. You claim to have arrived at the bridge at the same time as Wright? Yeah. I thought I'd better tell someone about this. But then Nick came up yelling about murder. It totally made me forget about the bridge. The fire was pretty much out by then anyway. What's this feel? I certainly have a terrible case of unease. It was after contacting the place that Phoenix Wright fell from the bridge, correct? Yeah, that's pretty much it, more or less. Told me about the burning bridge yesterday. There's still something that doesn't quite fit. It looks like, despite his change of heart, Larry still isn't telling us the whole truth. Alright, which statement? Well, let's look at the map. Why do you say it's a map? Well, based on what he said, it says I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later. So, the bridge isn't going to help us very much. Or the map isn't going to help us very much. However, this could probably help us. Because, remember, Larry says the lightning struck at 10:30. So this is going to probably sound weird when he starts explaining this to you, guy. Your very existence being a contradiction. I'm not sure if you can grasp this or not. What the hey, Yidgy? You make me sound like some sort of alien. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you know, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? Terrible at those. This is much more simple. You saw the lightning struck Dusky Bridge and immediately went to see what had happened. Is that correct? Yeah. Well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but more or less. I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, the lightning fell at 10:45 p.m. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusky Bridge, meaning you probably got there around 11 p.m. That all sounds about right, I guess. And then Nick showed up and did his falling act. That is impossible. What do you mean? 11 p.m. is when the murder occurred in Hazakura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there in the courtyard. There is no way that Larry could have encountered him at Dusky Bridge at that time. Excuse me? I have an objection. Dude. Edgy, how many times do I have to say this? I'm not Larry. I'm Larry Thornton. Yeah! It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister only said around 11. In which case, it would have been earlier than that. Watch your footing there, Miss Von Karma. Ms. Francisca Von Karma. The slope ahead is slippery. For there is still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m. And why not? It is clearly written here in the weather data report. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until at least 11:15 p.m. Which means, what exactly? Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames that night. Well, what did we see in Phoenix perspective? Did we actually see the bridge on fire? So, he still wouldn't have crossed the bridge if the flames were dead. He assumed that the boards were strong enough for him to walk across and the bridge was still on fire. So, that's where everything is confusing in this point. But he's saying that Wright never saw the bridge on fire. Well, Wright did see the bridge on fire. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense for him to cross it if the flames were gone. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until after the flames had died down. Well, that looks like it's still on fire to me. Larry, you arrived at the bridge at 11 p.m. But Wright did not make it there until at least 11:15. I suggest you stop hiding things and tell us the whole truth now then. What happened during the missing 15 minutes? I feel like I just got brutally wounded up by the toilet splashback. I guess I was still sleeping after all. So there was a missing 15 minutes prior to meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as a problem, much of a problem. Yeah, not much of a problem at all. Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes, and there is a phone right next to it. Why then did you not report the accident? Yes, witness. Why didn't you? Were you there simply to watch the bridge burn? And therein lies the problem. For even after the bridge had burned out, he was still there. Staring into space, this witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty. That's what it sounds like. Oh, but this is Larry we are talking about, and even he is incapable of being so stupid. Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction. Edgy? I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. Just as I thought. You've been playing us all this time. Listen, I'm going to tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all? Yes. I may really say it. Gah! Then say it! Very well. I have a terrible feeling about this, however. Let's listen to the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now, for this 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness? The missing 15 minutes. I'm a dog snail. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Gotcha. In front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe that I was feeling, I transferred it all directly onto the painting. Before I realized it, the flames had gone out, and then he came running up. I suppose artists can be strange, folks. That's right. I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch, including the truth from the sounds of it. Mr. Edgeworth, has this removed the last of your doubts? Not at all, Your Honor. One very large doubt still remains. And what would that be? This is a surprisingly believable story, especially considering the source. So, why did he think he needed to hide it from us till now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. Ha ha ha. You'll regret this, Edgy. You're gonna die. Just to help you think. Tell us, Larry. My name is Maurice. Get it right. Mistakes like that are what keep you from being popular with the ladies like I am. Just who exactly are you? I'm Maurice Locksnam, apprentice extraordinaire. That's what he calls himself in any case. Then you are an artist? Of course I am an artist, the real thing. Yet again, that's what he calls himself. Names mean nothing. There's only one issue I care to discuss. What were you doing? That is a very big issue indeed.
Hold it!
Catching the burning bridge? The burning bridge and everything that came with it. What? Came with it? You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll get this. Gah! Enough. Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness. What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. That doesn't indeed appear to be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth. What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling that the instant this sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what is depicted here. Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch, please. Well, even I couldn't have imagined it turned out like this. Imagine what? That Louis Dawson's debut would take place here today, like this. Whoa! Show it now! Okay. But still yourself. This is the world of Louise Doxnam. Oh. So this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? Your response, Ms. Von Karma? Yes, well, it's better than I expected. Better than she expected. Well, the side of the bridge is inaccurate. There's other things that's inaccurate about the bridge, but we'll discuss that later. Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames. I really did. Yes, I'm sure you did. This is going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. What do you see in that picture, Dai? Well, it's more of a figure. But we'll have more answers on that figure later. The mysterious flying object Larry. So what? The burning bridge is fine. But what is the unfortunate looking figure? Oh, you spotted that. That's right. However much I might want to ignore it, I can't. It's Iris, of course. Iris! So we should take very care of ourselves. We have to plan for our future, you know. What would have happened to her if she had injured herself flying like that? Larry, please, answer this next question honestly. Okay. Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames? Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist, a real artist. Are you high? This girl, she's really high up in this picture. You read that, right, Di? Or heard that? They did. They did. And they did it to pass the censors, too. The reason why it's separated like that is to pass the ESRB. I am pretty certain of it. Yow! What was that for? This is all but a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test that theory. Please whip your own cheek from now on if you wish to test your wild theories. That's kind of impossible. This whip is literally 3 feet long, and you expect her to whip her cheek with it? Anyway, no court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly. Well, not without engineering. Actually, there is some precedent for this. She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet above the bridge, at least. It was really something to see. This has to be some kind of a mistake. Mr. Edward, please bring the witness back down to earth. What? Me? This witness is your friend, is he not? Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth. Let us get back to the cross-examination, by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here. Yes, Your Honor. Looks like I'll get another reason to remember this moron. Well, what did you think of my debut piece? Get that thing away from me! Larry's sketch added to the court record. No, hurry up and cross-examine him. Alright, what statement? Alright, I'm gonna find the statement because they added a statement. I saw Iris flying, her white hood fluttering. This is the statement, actually. You're gonna press it?
Hold it!
Just where did you see this site from? Hey, no need to shout. When I was lying in bed in that rundown shack, the cracks of the lightning bolts made me realize that the bridge was burning. I just watched it for a while there, thinking how nicely it was burning. Then after about 5 minutes, I saw it. The defendant flying? That's right. That's when he decided to go to the bridge. Gee, that all makes sense. Aside from the sketch itself, yes, the sketch doesn't. Yes, this sketch doesn't make any sense. I just need to convince the artist that his work is ludicrous. But his artwork isn't exactly ludicrous. They're just looking at it wrong perspective. So we're going to go back to that statement.
Objection!
Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care. In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 that it's the truth. If that is really the case, then there is one thing that we can say for certain. Who might that be? That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant Iris. What? What do you mean? I don't understand. Ow! Foolish Harley Fooley have a foolish statement by an equally foolishly foolhardy fool. How exactly can you make this claim? Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct? Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite a ways from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defendant's bed. Defense's bed. Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On that night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who was doing the fight? What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood? What? Edgy, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why you, Nick, you dog? I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited and discarded, straight into the garbage. Huh. What is it now, witness? It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Edgy, today is the day I get to completely stupefy you. What? What is the meaning of your outburst, witness? I hate to have to do this, but I have some tentative evidence. Tentative? Evidence? Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge. And I already thought him. They'll prove it. Being instructed best again. We shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as suspected in this sketch. Show us your evidence that this nightmare was actually a reality. Okay, I hope you're ready, Izzy, because I'm going to feed you a whooping serving of pain. You've been serving us a whooping serving of pain this whole time, trust me. Whopping. You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time, trust me. Proof that Iris flew. When I reached Dusty Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere, half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood, as though no one else could have bought a crystal sphere that night. Here? This one. Pretty, isn't it? Finders keepers. That sphere. Where did you find it? Let me see. Around here somewhere. Looks about right. And it was half buried in the snow? It had pretty much stopped snowing by then. But there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge. The porter steps this crystal sphere. That's mine, okay? I want it back afterwards. You won't be seeing it back, Larry. There's something on it. Oh my! It's blood! What? Blood? Crystal sphere added to the court record. You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Mr. Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's going to push me around anymore. Didn't you want to be called Maurice Doxnim only a few minutes ago? So, you went to the burning bridge? That's right, to meet Iris. He actually flew to get to me. The least I could do was meet her halfway. But the defendant was not at the bridge when you got there, you say. I guess she went back to the Hazakura temple. She's a girl after all. She must have wanted to look her best. Must be lovely to live in the fantasy world in Larry's mind. Actually, it's so depressing that I can't even work up the energy to point it. So, what did you do next? So, you search all over for her? She was flying pretty high, you know. I thought maybe she slipped on her landing and got hurt. Hey. It was more than possible. Also, when I headed out to the shack the first time, I was snacking on a banana. I was pretty sure I threw the peel away somewhere around there, so you know. Can one guy really be this stupid? So, did you find any signs of her so-called landing? I don't really remember. I kept on falling over myself and kind of lost it for a while there. You fell over yourself? Yeah, the snow was deep and there was even a banana peel out there. Yep, that's stupid. And then there's Larry. Yep, there's stupid and then there's Larry Butts. So, there's something worse than being stupid. Got it. We'll note this down, right, Di? We'll note this down. Something more stupid than stupid. The short of it is that you didn't find any sign of her landing, correct? Then what happened next? Half buried? It was sitting in the snow with a little gathered on the top of it. It was very hard to spot actually. I mean, it was dark out too. I'm impressed. You did well to find it. No matter what you may think when you look at me, I'm a pro. A genius security guard. I use a pen light I borrowed from my company to help in my search, and it sparkled really brightly as if it was saying, "Here I am" to me. It does indeed look very much like the crystal sphere on Iris's hood. But need I remind you that she was not wearing her hood that night? Each nut is assigned their own hood, and they are assigned only one. I don't know anything about that, okay? And Iris is special, alright, dude? Even if she did steal a spare hood, I'll forgive her. This is getting us nowhere. Our destination for the day seems. However, this crystal sphere was found near the bridge. That is a fact. If it didn't come from a hood, where could it have come from? That is the question I aim to answer.
Hold it!
Let me confirm this one last time, Larry. The reason you thought that this was Iris are the hood and this crystal sphere, correct? That's right. My gut is never wrong. I met the old bikini the next morning, and her crystal sphere was still there, safe and sound. Gee. She was wearing it in this very room earlier today. This case isn't going to end without a fight. Exposing the obvious contradiction in this testimony will be easy, but I fear that all that awaits us are further mysteries. Alright, good statement. Okay. You have two types of evidence that you can present for this. Now, you can ask me evidence or profile. So, which one do you want to look at? The hood is not going to help us because that hood there is only going to not help us for the simple fact is Larry assumes that it's a spare hood that sphere came off of. So that's not going to help us. We can't use the staff by itself. But there is something that we can use aside of the staff. You mean this one? Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere. Who? Who was this stupid idiot? Miss Elise Doxnell, the mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere. Hey! That's my photograph! Give it back! A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my throat. That's a lie. They look nothing alike! In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Ah, the crystal sphere. It's gone. What? What? What does this mean? If anyone jumped or flew across that bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris, after all. She was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise Dogsmith.
Objection!
A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. You can't do that! I saw it! And this crystal sphere? This is nothing more than a red herring. You honestly believe that? Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miss Smiley. Elise Doxnam was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. You don't know that. Therefore, this fear cannot be related to this case, Cat. That is all.
Objection!
Mr. Francisco Von Karma? The only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns. Just like your case a year ago. Why are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of the murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with this case.
Objection!
That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder? There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent. Wrong. Which is the exact same reason that he drew the ridiculous sketch. What? You mean I'm the killer? No way! All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case. He makes a valid point. There's no evidence that Elise Doxnam left Azakor Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal sphere. If it's not related to the case and this witness will be called, you will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time. Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Did I prove it? Did I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped here before the murder took place? We can. I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, that's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case. You will do that? Then look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered. That should come to no surprise, because right now, I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder. You know, it doesn't really help the player much when we're already looking at the answer. Right, Ty? But you have two different evidence to present in this one. So I gave away one. We're already looking at it. No, we can't use the staff. Staff's not going to help us in this. We're definitely looking at one of them.
Take that!
This crystal sphere was half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing then, it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing. Even if it was ever so slightly. Snowing? On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there is no snow on the victim's body. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. What? Order, order, order! On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge. And therefore, something occurred that caused this staff crystal to come loose. What would that been? This sphere. There is some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this conjunction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge. We're getting closer.
Objection!
The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard? Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness. Just who is the fool? And which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma? Have you been paying any attention to this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard.
Objection!
That's not exactly true, now is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body. Exactly. That's the same thing! No, which means the victim was already dead at this point. No, it isn't. You said it yourself. Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. If that statement is true, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding.
Objection!
You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Lee Stockman's body was found in the Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way? I made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the event is also perfectly plausible. Now, if the defense is ready, the court would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to the Hazakura Temple. This should be pretty easy, Dai. This should be very easy. Because if it wasn't on foot, what was used?
Take that!
On that snowy night, there is one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon. But it could also have been used to carry a body. Order! Ah! This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edwards. You've dug yourself into your own grave. Why do I keep stuttering? What do you mean? You keep stuttering every time you're about to fall apart. Just when the proof is being proven. The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin? Huh. You're too late, Franziska von Karma. And in fact, the defense have proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case resolves further investigation. What? Where was the victim, Elise Doxham, really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, what does this image mean? Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it.
Objection!
This witness clearly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point. Thank you. That's little pathetic. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances. Right? I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It's just as I thought. Franziska von Karma, you made a wonderful partner. Excuse me? There was one reason, and one alone, for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, then pass it on to Wright. Really? That's what this was all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning. Then I wouldn't have had... Ouch! Miles Edwards. I don't care about what you were here to do. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel. A shame that your chances seem to have slipped you by. Francie! This is all your fault! Such a terrible witness! You are an... I cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I am counting on thorough investigation by both the defense and the prosecution. With this, the rest is up to you. Court is now adjourned. Until next time, everybody. And that will end today's stream. We have investigation left, and we have a very long trial segment that we have to do. So we have maybe 3 parts left that we're going to be doing. So, anything you want to say, Di? Questions? Concerns? Criticisms? All right, let me flip this over. Okay. So, sorry, I was eating. So, you understood what was happening so far in that part of the case. Was it still confusing for you? You have more of an understanding of this case. Something seems a little confusing, but we now know that the crime scene was not at the Hagakure Temple courtyard. That much we know. So with that said and done, I should try and see that hearts in chat? Click on something. Those are live reactions. YouTube is changing things around with the chat, so mine hasn't fully rolled over. I do have the pinned message that was changed, but the live reaction still hasn't changed for me. But it seems like most people, it has changed for them. Okay, so I am going to be turning the live reactions back on, and then it will be down there where you type, okay? Let me know if it still pops up in the middle of the chat. Let me know, because mine still does. I bet yours is probably at the bottom where you type, right? Yeah, everybody is being moved over to that. Vertical and a horizontal. I think we're going to raid Chadley, because it does show that he's live. So he's playing Super Mario Maker. Di, if you have any levels you want to share with Chadley, you can. I'm sure there's quite a few levels that he'll play. He usually tries to play a whole bunch of different varieties of levels. He's not really big on control levels, he's not real big on title levels, but he tries to play quite a bit of levels. He will play a hard level if it's within his playability. So if you really want to try, pretty much like you, yes. If you want to try, start him off with one of your easier ones, and then that way he'll get to see more of your levels and understand what kind of levels that you create, okay? There are some of them that you can't do, so just let you know, okay? So, any of the one that you feel like is one of your easiest levels, start out with that, okay? All your levels are pretty simple. Hopefully, for some people, they may not think it's as simple, but simple is good. It helps. Alright. So, that means